with racing. Then you'll love the new betting brand for racing fans. With exclusive markets, promotions, insights and content. That's better. Gamble responsibly.
This is Racing in Melbourne. Mick Sharkie is with me as always, and James Lamb from punters.com.au joins us. Lammy, before we get into the Cranbourne Cup, how was your week? Overall, thumbs up, thumbs down? It's a big week.
It's a big week. I'm probably ready for a stint in the spelling paddock now, Matty. But yeah, we started off well last week. You mentioned Salcombe, and Atishu was a very good result. Big plunge. But yeah, we tailed off a little bit with the Group 1s. It was tough going. But yeah, not a bad carnival. We'll say we broke even. That's always the standard response.
I like it. You've beautifully done. What about your overall thoughts of the whole meeting rather than just the Cranbourne Cup?
It's tricky, and the weather makes it even trickier. So Thursday night, potential thunderstorms, and then we've got a bit of rain on Friday and rain on race day as well, which could complicate matters. So yeah, we could be on a very dry track or something close to a soft 7, which makes it difficult. But
not for the first time over spring, is it, Shark? Where we just don't know whether we're going to get good 4 or soft 7. I'm hoping for good 4.
Seems like we're either getting the rain earlier in the week and it's drying out, or we're getting the rain later in the week in time for the weekend. So we just need a bit of consistency.
A couple of our best bets need a good track, I think. Anyway, but let's talk about the Cup. $4.80 the field, but not too many in single figures. Is it a deep field or not?
I think it is. I think it's a pretty strong edition of the race. Almost half of these are coming out of Group 2, Group 1 races, and then you've got a couple from the 5 Diamonds Prelude, which was a decent race in Sydney, won by Ellsberg. So there's form lines all over the place, and yeah, a few things to consider.
Your thoughts, Shark?
Yeah, much the same. I think it's a bit of an arm wrestle at the moment between horses in this field that need genuine given the ground. Buffalo River, Just Folk, probably Visinari, I'd argue as well. Belle Plaisir versus those that want it on the drier side, like Ironclad and horses like that. So Buckhurst at 40 to 1.
You love finding a 40 to 1.
If he got a dry track, he could run a really good race in this with the blinkers back on, but he's just been plagued by wet track. Who would have thought you'd bring a horse all the way out from Ireland looking for dry ground? You think Australia's probably the place for him.
Fine, yeah.
He has not seen a dry track.
No, he's been swimming at Bondi.
I reckon he said maybe one, but yeah, he probably wasn't ready for the race. But yeah, it's just one of those tricky little races. I think Saturday the forecast will tell the story.
How does the race pan out, Lemmy?
Yeah, well, I've gone with Visinari. Third up, it does need to improve, but I think it is the horse that's on the up. A lot of these are sort of either this is a bit of an afterthought or they're at the tail end of their prep. Horses like Uncle Bryn have been up for a long time. Visinari just might be the right horse at the right time. Plain win first up. I know it won, but people weren't overly impressed with that win at Flemington, and then struck a heavy 8 at the Valley last time. So I think third up, from a good draw, it probably sits just off the speed. It might be the horse that's ready to peak, and from a astute yard as well. I think they've targeted this race for it.
I've got a funny feeling, that they've got a really high opinion of this horse, and this might be the race for it. So you landed on there. Where did you land with your top 3?
So Visinari on top. Uncle Bryn, but needs a dry track. As I said, it's been up for a long time, so I think if it got a wet track, it's probably a run too far. If it's bone dry like it was at Sale when it won in devastating fashion 2 back, it's probably a challenger. And no effort. It's a mare I've always had a lot of time for. I just love the way she goes about it. She races on speed, wet or dry. She has actually been freshened up for this race.
First up record isn't great, so...
That is the query, but Gavin Bedgood said that, I've kept her ticking over, so she's not really off a long break. I think it's about 70 days, and loves Cranbourne, horses for courses, 2 wins and 3 placings. So yeah, she's one that if she gets a wet track, she's in the mix for sure. Yeah,
and he's going all right too, Gavin. He's training beautifully. Where did you land? Are you with or against Visinari?
Hedging my bets a little between wet and dry. I went with Ironclad.
You want
Will
it dry?
Clarkin. Yeah, I want it dry for him. But I thought he was great first up on a wet track where he was a long way back. He started blending into the race. Just probably peaked, I reckon, at the 200, but stayed on well. And there was a little gap there to third, which I didn't mind. I think this is probably one of those target races for him, an achievable goal during the back end of the spring. I put Belle Plaisir.
Good, because I put it in for third, so it wasn't a bad run in the Empire Road.
She probably conversely wants it wet.
Wet.
So we're sort of a little bit each way with the top 2. Visinari's going to be hard to beat as well, obviously. It's a great map, isn't it, Lammy, for that horse in that race. You can settle first third of the field with room to move. Daniel Moore's
they're going to go along pretty quick early, so they should just be able to slide in.
Yeah, so I think they're the key.
Well, I'm very similar. I've gone with Visinari on top, same as James. I've got Uncle Bryn in for second and then Belle Plaisir in for third, as you mentioned, off that run behind Ice Bath. So we're all around the sort of mark for the Cranbourne Cup, so that's probably not a good thing. But anyway, your best bets for the whole day?
Yeah, best bet, race 4, number 4, Greece. And
Got to be dry.
It's got to be dry. They've scratched her 3 or 4 times since her debut, not her maiden win, sorry, her maiden win at Geelong, where she won by 4 lengths and did it on her ear. But yeah, they keep scratching her from wet track. So if we get to a soft 6, they'll probably take her out again. But if it's dry, she just looks too good for these from barrier 1. The only other speed horse in the race is Calico Jack, who's from the same stable. So I can't imagine they'd want to get in a speed battle. So I'm hoping she just runs straight to the front and will be too hard to catch around Cranbourne.
Wouldn't you be filthy if you had a 3-year-old lightly raced and you look at this race at the Cranbourne Cup Day, 150 grand, we'll just go there, it'll be like a benchmark 6, and you run into Greece. Yeah. Fair Dinkum was an early favourite for the Golden Slipper, could have been favourite for a Coolmore had it gone around there, it would have been hard in the market, and you're running into it at Cranbourne.
Is that your best bet of the day as well?
I think so. As long as she gets the right ground, I think she'll blow them away.
It's a trifecta for us all, like Greece there. I've never actually finished the whole movie, so let's talk about something else. Your other bets, mate, before we...
Yeah, in case Greece doesn't get a run, I'll be waiting until race 9, number 2, Aaron Bay, around the $4 quote. It's got 60 kilos even after the claim, but I just think it's the class horse in this race. It deserves that weight. I just love its form around Cardinal Gem, Literary Magnate and Jimmy the Bear as well. That sort of form has stacked up this spring. First up off a little break, and the wide gate might be an issue, but if it rains and they're coming middle or outside, it won't be an issue. I think Aaron Bay will be too good for them.
Anything else from you?
Scissor Step in the 8th. Okay. I like it. Good first up win at the Valley. Look, if these win, we might be in the magic car flying off into the clouds. Like
the great thing is, James mentioned he needs a break. If these win, he's got some spending money for Japan, mate. So thank you for that. You're having a little break over the next couple of weeks.
I am, yeah,
You're going
3
to Japan,
weeks.
One of the best places in the world.
No, it'd be good to maybe get the quaddie and finance a few nights out in Tokyo.
Mate, enjoy. James Lamb from Punters.com.au. He's off to Japan. We're sending him off a winner, but that's racing in Melbourne. Next up, we're racing in Sydney. Well, we're racing in Newcastle.
The betting brand for sports fans. That's better. Gamble responsibly.